the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. We're rearranging, trying to get our spots. It's great. I always have to do that.
Just move it out of the way.
And I'm going to assume that we have modifications to the agenda, or not. Is there anything?
Rand's usually got an addendum.
Do you have an addendum to
It's
the
right in front of you.
agenda?
Well, then anybody can add it, right?
No, we count on you, Brad.
I'll second it though.
Brad hasn't even made a
Look
motion.
at it.
I'm hoping for a motion.
Okay, yeah, we need to add these two resolutions in this addendum to the, we're adding to the consideration of accounts, which is part of the consent agenda.
Okay. And if they're added, then we'll, once we get there, we'll speak to them, I guess.
So that's going to be added to the consent agenda.
Correct. And public and staff. Adam, do you need any time? Do you want to?
I've been at so many of the board committee meetings, I think I'm all set.
That's where we rock. That's where all the business is done. So thanks, Adam, for your attendance at those meetings. That's where we indeed do a lot of work. I'm not saying anyone else. Student reps. No.
At Ithaca High School, we passed our first 10 weeks, so report cards have arrived at all the students' houses. This Friday is going to be a very busy day for Ithaca High School. There's a swim meet, Swiss Club movie night, an Avid fundraiser at Lowe's on Friday. So if you go, it's $10, all you can eat, benefits Avid. Recently, the African Latino Club has had trips down to New York City. And Ithaca High School has introduced Mathio, which if you go after school and you get help for math and you go 3 times, you will get a free frozen yogurt at Yogurtland.
Oh.
Well, no.
Yes. So if you guys need any help with your math, feel free to stop by.
No, we do have the the budget thing coming up, and we could probably use some help with that. For that. New York State could use some help with that. So, anything else?
No, that's about
That's
it.
great. LACS.
Yeah, so we have also passed the first quarter now, and so we don't do grades, as you probably all know. We send out evaluations, and that takes a lot of energy for the teachers to write, but we think it's worth it, and those were sent out, and now we're entering our second quarter, and that's been going smoothly so far. Recently, a committee at our school, run by students, the Students for Social Responsibility, did a survey about what students thought about being late to class. Because there is no bell at ACS, a lot of students come late to class, and there's no real way of enforcing that. And the survey found the vast majority of students don't think being late is appropriate. So we're definitely working on removing that as an issue, because it is a pretty major issue at our school right now. Other than that, our pasta dinner is coming up next week on December 5th, and it's at Ithaca High School, and it's a fundraiser for the spring trips that we do. And you can all come. It costs, I think, $5, but you don't even have to pay if you don't want to. It's just a suggested donation. And then we just completed our pecan sales, and we raised over $5,000 for spring trips for that. So that was very successful as well. And that's it.
What time is the spaghetti dinner?
It's at 6 o'clock. So that's it.
Very good. Board responses, anything? Anyone?
I'm glad to hear punctuality is well thought of among the students.
When is the first basketball game?
The first basketball game was in Oneonta.
I believe it's the 12th. There's one the 12th, and then there's Wednesday, and then there's one the Friday, which I think is the 14th.
Okay.
Not quite.
We need our free passes.
Yes, we do.
Did we get those? Didn't we?
No,
We got the fine arts.
Yeah.
So we still haven't gotten our stack athletic glasses. Noah had something to say. So.
Speaking of basketball, just in regards, there was a meeting yesterday, finances and committees, correct?
Yeah.
Just regarding to existing, were there any decisions made about athletic facilities that were not updated?
The
in
court?
that meeting?
Oh, the court? The stack official came and examined the court and said it was good for both basketball and volleyball. Assuming we don't have any more water damage. It's still not 100% clear that roof heater is correctly draining the roof, and so there may still be some water in there. So I guess I've got to put a caveat on it that while we think it's going to be good for the season, I can't guarantee it. The contractor who broke it was the one who then fixed it, and we're not 100% sure. Is that the fair way to put it? That's good. We're not 100% sure that it is draining correctly, so we could get some water penetration again.
Hey Brad,
Yep.
could you just start from the beginning and just, I think people might
Oh,
not
sure,
know that.
sure. On the west side center of the gym, the large gym at the high school, as part of the work they were doing this summer, unfortunately, a roof rainwater leader got broken. Well, it actually got crushed. And obviously then wasn't carrying the water away from the roof. Some of that worked its way back into the building and underneath the floor on that west end, and unfortunately caused some warping to some of the boards on that side. It's now been dried. Our staff has done a pretty good job of putting small cuts in it to let it lay out better as it settles, but it's still not perfect. And then we're going to reevaluate once we're 100% certain there's no water penetration from below anymore. We're going to reevaluate whether sanding will be enough, or whether, and we've gotten a price for replacing just that section of the gym. So we're waiting to see, that we've corrected the issue, and then if that's corrected, then evaluating again in the spring what the best way to treat it is going to be.
And to add to that, going forward, we also set a meeting for this Monday. The date is what's Monday's date?
Right.
The 3rd at 6 p.m. to have further discussions about the possibility of any other improvements to, for example, to have a conversation about the pool, what may be done there, and to possibly have some conversation about York Auditorium to see if there's ways in which we can do that. So those decisions weren't made, but we're
And the restrooms.
in the restrooms at the high school.
Restrooms,
itself.
Air conditioning in the gym.
That is at 6 p.m.
o'clock on Mondays?
And some more work at the main gym at the high school as well.
Right.
There was multiple projects that we're considering.
But I think that's probably what you're asking about as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Anything else? I guess since we are talking about athletics, at this point, I will just say that I did get a call from the radio station today, and I had not heard, but Joe Moresco passed away today. Joe Moresco Stadium, obviously named for him. Brendan from the radio station said, well, did you know him? And I said, well, yes, I did. Coach Moresco certainly was my coach, in the old days they were called guidance counselors, and so he was my guidance counselor, coach, and we just came from one of the commendation ceremonies for excellence in the district. There was a time when Joe Moresco epitomized excellence. For a 15-year-old kid like me to come on as a sophomore and be a part of an undefeated team, that's really a life-changing event for me, and for really, it was a special time in Ithaca to be a part of that, be part of what Coach put together. Again, they asked me for comments, but only the best way I could sum it up was, Coach Moresco put together really a college-level program for a high school. And so that's really what we talk about today, Dr. Brown, are the kids coming through Ithaca college ready? Well, certainly Joe Moresco makes sure that his kids, the kids in his program, were certainly college ready. And when I was in high school, the captain of the Yale football team was an Ithaca grad. The captain of Dartmouth was an Ithaca grad. A former captain, a few years earlier was at Colgate. The captain of the freshman football team at Cornell was an Ithaca grad. So this was the legacy. This is the tradition of Ithaca High School that of that period. It was a special time to be an Ithaca High School student. And so I was really privileged to be a part of that in a small way for a few years. And, it's for the kids that now get to be in the playoffs and achieve, like the women's hockey team from a few years ago, win a state championship. There's no playoffs back then, but, they certainly, Ithaca was voted the #1 large school team in the state a few times. And it was just a great experience, and Joe Moresco certainly epitomized, the staff of Ithaca High School really at that time and then going forward. So you'll see it in the paper, and certainly there'll be information and calling hours, etc. But I had not heard about it until this afternoon, so just wanted to say that, and we'll move on. So thanks for allowing me to do that. So consent agenda.
Jay True moves the consent agenda.
I second it.
With the addendum.
And can we,
Speak to it, please.
Sean has it.
I don't mean to steal Dr. Brown's thunder, but on the consent agenda, we are passing a resolution, or recommending the passing a resolution that would allow alumni organizations to use district facilities free of charge, and sort of to actively encourage those folks. And so if you look on the addendum, I want to make sure that the resolution that's stated there says Ithaca City School District alumni, and we want it to be changed in 4 different spots to say alumni organizations. I don't know if you can capture this, Jenny. So in the title, in the first whereas, in the second whereas, and in the resolved, all where it says alumni of ICSD to say alumni organizations of ICSD. Folks get that? There'll be 4 different changes.
So it's not just a
It's
free-for-all?
right. It's not about individuals. It's about alumni organizations using our facilities with superintendent's and/or designee approval. Right. That's the idea.
Yep. And then for those who weren't at Finance and Facilities, I can speak to the printed in our agenda. You've got resolution under number 6. This is the third lease arrangement with BOCES for the increase in tech equipment in the district. This will be paid over 5 years, and we'll get 57% BOCES aid on it. So that's the third piece of that. And then you see under the addendum, the resolution B1 on the addendum is a $6,000 lease. The office that does the tests needs to be able to scan and color so that they can do tracking numbers and color of the tests. And
Okay.
hence they need their own scanners, hence the $6,000 lease. For that, you're saving a lot of labor by doing that. Otherwise, they'd have to hand alphabetize everything. But by having a control number, they don't have to do that. So it's a labor trade-off. But that's why you have that odd lease for just one piece of equipment.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jim.
I just, Brad, maybe you said it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The 450,000 is,
For the life of the...
is it purchasing and computer equipment?
We're leasing it for 5 years.
Yeah, right, yes, yeah, right. So
Right.
and it's leasing, and
So it's-
it was that sheet that was given out, all the various...
All the pieces of equipment over, and you're paying it over 5 years. Remember, BOCES aid is delayed a year, so we're laying out the first piece of it this year, the first piece of the lease this year. We don't get BOCES aid till next year for that piece. But likewise, at the end, when the year after you've made your last payment, you'll still get aid the following year for it.
And the folks who were there, the question I had, the conversation was also about the lease arrangement. At the end of the 5 years, while BOCES officially or technically owns the title to the equipment, it's the district's job to dispose of the equipment.
So if we continue to use it, we continue to use it, but then it's our issue to dispose of it. BOCES doesn't come and get it.
Even though it's still owned by BOCES.
I think
they write it off at the end of the 5 years.
Budget.
How was this accounted for in our budget making?
Yeah, we have this lease in the budget.
Is it right?
Yeah, this fits within the tech amount for the year.
Both these line in the budget, under technology equipment.
Okay, so this, okay, so this is what the plan was when we passed, right?
Yeah.
It was the plan to be purchasing, I remember the grand scheme plan of purchasing lots of equipment over time to get, approach.
And we're approving a number not to exceed because it hasn't been bid yet.
Yeah,
But Tim Moon has done the pricing himself, and this actually has some room in it, so we should come in under this number.
And and again, for, I said, for 5 years, so it's not $450,000 out of next year's budget. Right, it's 110 out of next year's budget, 110, or not even 110, 90.
Yep.
why do you say that?
Because over a 5-year.
It's a 5-year.
But there'll be some spent this year.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm saying, but it's not 450 out of this year's budget.
No, it's a spread out over 5 years. Right.
And
That's good, right, to clarify.
absolutely.
Other questions?
Was the payment thing given out yesterday? Is it spread out over, is it an
It was a
even
little bit
amount
it was a
each year?
schedule.
Yeah, the front page was a schedule over the 5
Yeah,
years.
I can't remember.
I gave you that piece of paper, Jim.
I know, but there was a lot of, it was pretty
There's a lot of
tiny.
numbers.
But
numbers.
was it roughly the same, is it roughly the same amount each year, or is it front load? Yeah, there's Tim,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's roughly the same.
Yeah,
Tim, you
it
could-
is roughly the same amount. There is a small fee, much like when you do your mortgage, there's a certain closing cost initially, and then the payments are the same after that. These leases work the same way, where there's a small startup fee, and then it's 5 annual payments of equal increments.
Right, good.
But Jay, I asked him the same question, really. What's compared to what we were doing before with our technology payments, how were we buying, how, in gross amounts, how are we compared to what we used to do to what we're doing now? Tim, if you could just speak to that.
Yeah, we are overall increasing the budget. We're buying substantially more technology, and really, it's, because we're getting 57% state aid or BOCES aid on what we're purchasing, our buying power goes a lot farther.
Sure.
And this is something that historically, as I look back in our budget, we had done at certain times in the past. Some of the equipment we still come across and are in the process now of recycling. They've aged out, have been done on these leases in the past. It was given up for a spell, and really because of the level of aid that we do get back on this, it really leverages our buying power. So it's permitted us to update our equipment and help support our one-to-one initiative and really get our equipment current.
Thanks, Tim. Any other questions? We good?
I just wanted to maybe state the obvious that as part of this purchase, we're also putting in place the necessary training and curriculum modifications to support the use of these new technologies and things. So just to, it's part of our overall plan and focus of the district.
That's a statement, not a question.
Right.
Anything else? Moved and seconded, all in favor? That's everyone? And Albert is absent as of right now. So Dr. Brown, I think that takes us up to superintendent's report.
Yes, and I have several items I wish to walk us through tonight. And Mr. Bradway, you didn't take my thunder. We actually saved me, the board, and this action saved me dozens of emails. Because I get emails daily about alumni organizations wishing to use our building and wanting us to come and be a part of their celebrations each year, but always wondering about their feet. So in taking that action, you're the good guy, but you just saved me some emails, so thank you for doing that for us. I have several items. The first one, I'll just pass around a letter I received from a fellow Rotarian, Janet Steiner. I don't know if the board realizes this, but the Ithaca City School District partners with the Ithaca Rotary Club in a project called the International Project for Books of the World. Since 2010, we have collected and packed and sent over 26,000 used young people books, young persons books, as it's described here, children's books, and surplus textbooks to South Africa and other countries all over the world. So there are a lot of folks who contribute to this effort, including some folks at the high school, their staff and custodians who help manage the packing of these books and storing of those. And Coach Brian and Ithaca High School athletes, as part of their community service projects, have helped pack up these books. So the Ithaca Rotary Club is so thankful for what we've done. We make up about 66% of their shipment, so we're a big part of what they do, and they want to thank us for that particular effort. So I just want the board to know that was happening. Secondly, if I can take your attention to the screen, as we mentioned at the last meeting, we moved to provide the documents that we review, everything from the agenda to the personnel report, the consent agenda. It's now in a public Dropbox. So anyone wishing to follow along with the board members, wherever and however you're accessing the meeting, can click on the homepage. It's here on the homepage in bold yellow, but in the future it'll be under the Board of Education page, and it's there also. So when clicking there, if things work tonight, like I hope, yes, it takes you to that public Dropbox. When clicking there, you see the PDFs and other documents that are associated with this meeting. And it will be organized according to meeting from now on. So that public approach to sharing information about our board meeting. But while I'm here, to foreshadow future meetings, next week, when together we'll be reviewing the Board of Education priorities and the metrics that staff has worked on in the past, over the past month, to help us hold ourselves accountable for those particular priorities. But in addition to that, we have the equity report card. And folks have been asking, where is the equity report card? So I wish to show folks that the equity report card has been published. It is here in the format that folks have noticed in the past, the PDF. So we can go to equity report card, and you can print the report card in this previous iteration.
So it's just in the equity tab.
Equity tab.
Scroll down.
And scroll down. What's new, you'll see the equity report card dashboard. When clicking on that link, it'll take you to what we've been foreshadowing for 2 years now. And finally, the technology and the staff, and Tim Moon and his staff have been outstanding when making our vision come true. We talked about this balanced scorecard, or interactive dynamic approach to looking at data. And we have that now. When going to our dashboards, and I don't know how it's showing up for folks here, let me minimize that. There are numerous fields here. The equity report card, all the information that is in the equity report card, and then some, is here for everyone in this public, and anyone can manipulate the chart to see the kind of data they wish to see. For example, when looking at our district demographics on this first page, you can scroll across parts of the pie chart, and you can see that the green is not non-rural, non-free and reduced white students, which make up 35% of our student population. And I know you like this, preferably your data guide, so this is going to make you very happy as we go through it. But when clicking in the top left corner, you can see all the different fields and ways we are tracking data now in a very dynamic way. This data is some lagging data now. We'll get to the leading data that we're going to be showing shortly, but this is some lagging data. From most of it is state data. So, for example, if you want to know how many of our young people are enrolled in co-curricular athletic programs, you can click there, and you can get trend data on every particular membership group that we have in the organization. So that same non-free and reduced lunch African American Latino students, you'll see that in 2009 we had 22.8% of them participating in a sport. 2010-11 we had 32.2% participating in sport. Again, some lagging data, but a very dynamic way whatever you wish to know about the organization and where we are as far as our lab and data, you can go here. Okay, and you'll see clubs, you'll see ELA region scores, graduation rate, and in each place, in each spot, whenever you click on these documents, you can click and scroll. So I'm sharing this with you, and I will go through this much more next week when together, but I wanted to give folks a chance to play with this. So when coming to the meeting, the work session next week, they'll have some questions. Yes.
Can you go back to the first main page?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you are actually interested in the demographics, let's say, you can actually click on the pie chart itself. Yeah, and it takes you and it drills in. So you don't have to select it from the drop down. If you want to know about demographics, you can click on that. If you want to know further about demographics in relation to special ed, you can click on that chart and it'll drill into the special ed again.
That's pretty cool.
Tim, this is fantastic.
So
I'm gonna have fun tonight.
I will say,
Be up all night.
I'll up all night long.
Tim has already been asked to present at some national events about it. I mean, we've talked about balanced scorecard for 2 years, and I said when coming to this job, the technologies didn't exist then. Because of this vision and because we've been pushing the envelope as far as how to look at and share very publicly, we talk about confronting Google facts with our community, this is it. So what we hope to do and have in place for us next week, the Board of Education, well, I keep looking there because it used to be there, but the Board of Education priorities that will be there, and the metrics that we will put in front of the board next week, that we hope will be something that we monitor quarterly, will be in this format. And you and anyone can go in for the first quarter, how many of our young people are enrolled in AP and honors classes at the secondary level. If that's one of our metrics, you can go in and see it at the first and second quarter, etc. So for each one of the metrics, we'll have that particular data here.
This is connected to be updated, so in each quarter, what's the data lag here?
It depends. The goal for the Board of Education would be to put that out quarterly, just like you would for a business. You know, you set your quarter goals. Did we achieve those at the end of the quarter? Equity report card is annual. So typically we get graduation rates and so on at the end of August, and that typically lags an entire year. But yeah, as we develop the metrics, the goal is to push those out every 10 weeks.
Hey, as great as this is, can I just offer a suggestion that since this is so important and useful tool, that it not be on a second layer, that it be someplace on our page,
Yeah.
that is just there, so we don't have to go into equity and into, just have it there.
Its own button.
Yeah, we were going to do a more public launch as we coincide with next week's board meeting. As we roll this out and how we plan to use it and how we wish for everyone else to use it, we were going to then do a press release and share more specifically where it is. But I just wanted to tease some folks this week and get you thinking about this.
But it is available on the site right now.
But it is available on the site right now. And we're also going through a website redesign process also that will have this prominently displayed. Because it's something we should be, the tool and how we're looking at it is something that
So I just want, again, to Brad and I have a quick conversation, but having been around in the field of education to education policy, I know that a good number of districts are always, don't have the courage to put their data out like this. And so beyond just the interface and beyond the ease of use, the fact that we're holding ourselves accountable by making this as public as possible is a very big step. And having just come from a national conference where folks were looking at our equity report card and amazed that we had a paper copy and had this sort of data and were disseminating it. I can only imagine their excitement when they would find out something like this as well. So I want to echo Seth's comments about putting that button front and center and letting our community sort of go around and play with the data. And kudos to the folks who've been working on it. I know it's been a long time coming. And I would dare say at some point in time it probably warrants a small sort of video introduction by yourself or somebody that helps people understand how best to use some of the key features.
Judy was the one 2 years ago, balanced scorecard. What's that? So now we can just define that in a video and then share it with folks.
Good.
The only other item, just a quick, in addition to all these things we work on, we continue to work on budget, and budget is an ongoing process for us. So I have some updated information about budget and where we are as a state right now that I thought the board and the community may wish to know about. So I'll just read some things that I'm hearing and getting sent to me from some folks. One, we've been hearing and we know that the Superstorm Sandy will impact the governor's budget. We're understanding that the governor's budget is going to come out in the next 6 weeks and that the state aid increases that we hoped hope to see may not be as much as we were anticipating. So last year we received about a 3% increase from the state, so indications are showing right now that that may not be the case going forward. In addition to that, we know that the retirement system, the TRS, this year we had 11.84% increase from year to year. We're anticipating a 15 to 16% increase.
That's correct.
From year to year, something that will impact our budget development process. Health costs, healthcare increase, we're looking at about a 6% increase from year to year, and that's a pretty solid number too. So some significant increases from year to year that we're looking at that will be impacting. We're also hearing though, and this is a good thing, that there won't be any mid-year state cuts. I guess I should be happy about that. But I was told, make sure you highlight that. But so I don't know what the history's been in the state, but obviously there's been some mid-year cuts, and I've been told not to worry about that this year, just worry about the other things. So I'm putting those things in front of you. We're continuing to work on the budget, and we're doing some initial analysis in-house, and we hope to bring some of these things to the Finance Committee and then to the entire board in the coming months.
But the point should be made that Governor Cuomo has a hole in his budget.
Yeah.
And it's a hole that's gotten bigger because of the storm. The tax revenues are down because of, well, there was, folks didn't do what they normally do. They were waiting for the power to come back on or dealing with tragedies in their neighborhood, and instead of going out and buying and working and doing, you know, everything that you do every day. You do that for a month or so. That impacts the revenue estimates of our state controller. So it's, we'll keep working through it, Dr. Brown.
Enough, an extended superintendent's report tonight. I apologize.
No, it's fine, Dr. Brown. This is your time, Dr. Brown.
Thank you for it.
Could you extend it a little further and just talk about the conference that you had a chance to go down to?
Sure, yeah.
Briefly, you know.
Yeah.
It was alluded to, I think.
Yeah, I was invited to share some of the things that have happened in our story. It has gotten out, so I was invited to share and be a keynote at the National Association for Black School Educators Conference in Nashville, Tennessee, and we accepted the invitation. And whenever invited to go share our story at some of these national events, I'm often taking a board member. So Ithaca College was great to sponsor Professor Everly Bradwell to go along with us, and we co-presented. And I think there were close to 4,000 folks at the particular conference, and we had standing room only in our particular session. And we shared some of the work that we've done. We talked about our approach to excellence and what we've done, everything from confronting brutal facts and sharing what we've done with the equity report card to redefining achievement and how we look at a portfolio of measures to define achievement for our young people, and then how we celebrate it. And so the processes that we've gone through for 2 years, and folks were excited about it, quite frankly, and we've seen follow-up emails and conversations. Folks want to come visit to hear more about what we do, but it was a good time to be there and to highlight our work and to learn. There were some outstanding keynoters and outstanding educators at this event, and I learned much having an opportunity to engage and interact with them. That's my perspective.
Yeah, I would just say, when I began as an educator in the Ithaca City School District in 1995, one of the first things that the district was kind of to do was to help sponsor my membership to the National Alliance of Black School Educators. So I've been a member for about 7 years, and hadn't been to the conference in the past 5 years. And so when the opportunity arose to attend the conference again, it's one of the better conferences that are out there on the circuit. And so the presentation that Dr. Brown and I presented, right, I went as a member of the board, but I went as an assistant professor. I went on IC's dime to help present and to build my own academic portfolio, but also to talk about the work we're doing. And it reminds me when I travel nationally and talk about educational policy to folks, again, the sort of groundbreaking work that we're doing here. Now, it all will end in the results. If there's no movement in the data, then it's all talk. But in terms of how we're thinking about things, in terms of how we're framing our conversations, in terms of some of the work that we're trying to implement, there's no shortage of groundbreaking material, and you hear that reflected from people, from superintendents, from state commissioners who were in our presentation saying, you all seem to be doing some pretty amazing work. And what it also impressed me was the number of folks who came up to Dr. Brown specifically and said, who knew him prior to him being introduced. I'm following your work, Dr. Brown. I'm following the work in Ithaca. I've heard that 3 or 4 times in about a 2-day process, which was noteworthy. So it was a good conference. It was a good presentation. And I think we got some good feedback about the kind of work that we're doing and the ways in which we're framing it to raise the level for all students. Yeah. And I'd be happy to share with the board or with the community the quick 3 pages that I wrote for this to help reframe the conversation about the achievement gap and how we've been trying to do that work in our district to not compare black students and white students, but to try to make sure that all students are excellent. Right, that we weren't playing those games about who's being compared to who. Our comparisons to excellence, not to one another. And that was revolutionary for most folks in the room. They never thought of it that way. So,
One comment that got the loudest applause, but I said after he spoke and read this piece, people were excited. And they couldn't believe a board member was what the superintendent presented one. And I shared that I could have any of our other 8 board members here and do the same thing. And that shocked folks, and I meant that, because any of us, any board member here, we're a team, and we all can speak about this work in ways very articulately and passionately.
and I co-signed that, but I said it wouldn't have been quite as good.
Of that, there's no doubt.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah? Oh, you were just, okay.
Policies.
We're going to go on to policies, not the grand old opry apparently, Judy Max. So school district business, and the business of the school district tonight is 100 series policies. Dr. Sean Anderson Bradwell.
And if these are not, these policies hopefully will be in the public Dropbox if they're not already.
They're not already. Once they are ready.
Fantastic, we should get them there. These are a second reading of all these policies. The only change, there's one change to to policy 0110 and 0110R. Scratch that. 0100 and 0100R. And some conversations with Bobby and Karen about protected classes. The way in which we had the policy written previously, it excluded 2 protected classes, one being military status, which we added. And so there's been some slight modifications, but the general premise, process, procedures all remain exactly the same. It's just a matter of who's been included. And I will put that in the Dropbox, both the public and board Dropbox as soon as possible. But beyond that, there's been no changes from the first reading. And so I can proceed whichever way you want to proceed.
And it was thought, I believe, sorry, Judy. I was thought that we should pass each policy individually, correct? Is that my understanding?
Sure. Yep. Probably. You probably should.
Moved and seconded and tabled. You can bring them up each one at a time for a vote.
We did a blanket tabling.
No, what, table?
No, we did blanket tabling, and I think we should move each separately, correct?
Yep, they've all been moved and seconded previously.
So,
I don't know if it's my job to do that or not, but
I'll do it. I move policy 0000, mission statement and vision.
J. seconds.
now there's, if there's any other questions or
No, I don't have to.
comments?
You don't have to, he's just moving it up from table.
Moving it up.
Right, and if there's any questions or, this is an opportunity for those who have reviewed the policy to say, okay, there's a comment in the wrong place, or this sentence should be adjusted. Right, this is another opportunity to do that.
Yep.
You know, if I'm not seeing anything.
We did not pass this one before,
we have passed this one before.
so we're going to just repass it, all of them?
It was the wrong number.
Not this one. This one's been passed previously.
Yes.
We're just including it to make sure everyone knows exactly what's in the 100 series.
Okay.
Okay.
So this one we can actually, and we've passed, this one we've passed 0115, 0115R. Those have been passed as well.
You should probably.
We should move to pull them off the table one at a time
Yes.
in the order that you want.
So, are we gonna move on this one even though it's been passed? We're just gonna,
Sure. We're going to just go ahead and re-verify this one. All in favor?
So that it'll show an adopted date of tonight as well.
for the other two we should because the numbers are wrong, remember? So we should
Oh, okay,
adopt.
so we're
So
going
let's just do.
second adopted, that's fine. Okay,
Yep.
great.
Yep, have them all the same date, all in favor? That's everyone. We'll move on to the next.
Keep going, pick out for it.
0100, equal opportunity and non-discrimination.
And you can probably include the regulation along with that as well.
And 0100R, regulations for equal opportunity and non-discrimination.
Second by Chris. Correct?
You don't need a second.
He's just bringing them off the table.
All right.
Call to a vote.
All in favor? That's everyone.
No second.
I bring off the table policy number 0110, sexual harassment.
Any questions? Anyone? Anyone? All in favor? Aye, everyone?
I bring off the table 0115, bullying prevention, and 0115R, regulations for bully prevention.
And my only note would be again that to the public, these policies were already passed, both the policy and the regulation, except they were numbered 1115 as opposed to 0115. And they're already included as part of the DASA Act and included in our student codes of conduct, both the elementary and secondary version.
Should the regulations read for bullying prevention or for bullying prevention?
Bullying. I changed it to bullying.
Yeah.
I imagine that the regulation already says that.
Well,
Without objection.
That was it.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure the regulation says that, so all in favor? Thank you. Yes, everyone?
I move off the table 0300, accountability.
Of which side of it? Yeah, I'm not even gonna go.
No.
Any questions? All in favor? Without objection, next.
I move off the table policy 0310, board self-evaluation.
Kind of goes with that accountability
Yeah, it
thing,
does.
but
Yeah.
anyway. Any questions regarding this? None? All in favor? To everyone?
And I
passed.
move off the table policy 0320, evaluation of superintendent.
Very good. Any questions, modifications? All in favor? That's everyone.
Congratulations, board. You just passed a full series. Only got 9 more to go.
Champagne?
That's right. We'll see you next month with the 1,000 series, which will begin on Thursday.
And
So
we
how many-
expect you at the meetings.
how many-
When's the 3,000? That's what I'm really excited about.
Careful what you ask for.
That's ready.
It'll take another 2 years for the 1,000.
So great. And Rob, let me just say that we are meeting on Thursday, a policy committee meeting, and we're having a conversation about a couple policies. One, you should be expecting some policies to come up that come from the Finance and Facilities Committee about bus idling and pest management. And we're also having a conversation at the policy committee on Thursday about an acceleration and or retention policy. And much more focused on the retention policy, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to happen Thursday.
Excellent.
And Sean did move on to other business by board members, and there is a list of committee meetings, any other business, Brad?
Yeah, yesterday we added a finance and facilities meeting next Monday. Sorry, we didn't tell you. Yes,
Or
December
December
3rd
That's okay.
at 6. And I did see a notice about a audit committee meeting that should be on here. I believe that's December 6th
You're right, yeah.
at 5 o'clock, was that?
Yes.
Yep, if you could get that on the list as well.
5 or 5:30, maybe probably 5.
Riveting stuff.
Here.
Yeah, it'll be here. Yep.
So I did attend a curriculum committee meeting. It was actually very interesting. What's up next for curriculum? What are you?
Well, we're still on the Imagine Learning, but the next thing is use of the overhead in the classroom. People went today to Northeast, and other board members will go on Friday. And then the use of classrooms of iPads. We're going to have 2 teachers who have total iPads.
Technology, still investigating technology in the
Coupled
classroom.
with this and a smart board and an Elmo.
Mm-hmm.
And an Elmo.
Yes, an Elmo.
Not the doll.
No.
Not the guy.
Or-
We don't want to go there either. So we're game-based learning and then technology in the classroom. That's what's going on in curriculum. I'm going to go to more curriculum committee meetings. Actually, that's where education begins, right? What is it, Matt? It's where it all.
Where the learning happens.
There was a catchphrase there that I couldn't quite remember, and I tried to. I know. I just.
And then there's a,
I'm getting
after
old.
that is the civil rights curriculum, which will be interesting also.
Okay. So obviously finance facilities, looking at more work with whatever remaining work that we may wish to do with the bond referendum budget, and then obviously the budget for the school district will be getting into that with both feet, and have been anyway, but we'll be getting into that more. Anything else? Oh, there you go, Sean. Yeah.
Just two quick items. Just before Thanksgiving break, I had the chance to participate in the change agent unit of Randy Beckman's first grade class at Bell Sherman. What a delight it was to spend some time with those young folks and to field some of the toughest questions I've ever had before. What's your favorite ice cream? I was a tough one to answer. I couldn't quite get that one. But a great time. And on Friday, I don't know if, I'm sure I'm not the only board member or the only person, but I'll be participating in the DeWitt Middle School Futures Day. Where the middle school is a version of their career day. And so I know there's more than 75 community folks are participating in a day-long event to help some of our young folks try to figure out what kind of careers they may be involved in. So looking forward to that day as well.
The, just to let parents and kids who may be watching to know that we're about to start our great elementary school basketball season, and I'll be coaching again, and I'll be coaching the mighty BJM Tiger, third grade, I think. But so that's starting. It's a lot of fun. We play elementary schools play Saturday mornings, and so if your kids are not signed up, get them signed up. It's for girls, boys. It's a lot of fun, and kids run around and learn something about playing sports and being on a team.
When does that start?
Well, different schools start, depending on their coaches, but we're starting next week, and most schools are starting next week.
I know that it's not school-related, but it's an equity issue, especially out in Enfield, on getting the kids to games. So you might want to think about that. I don't know whether we can, if it's a Saturday program rather than a school program, but it might be something to think about.
Anything else by anyone? We're done with our public session at this point, but we're not done with our work for tonight. I need a motion.
I'll move we go into executive session for discussion of particular individuals.
Well, it's pending litigation, personnel matters related to specific individuals.
Well, we've
I need a
already
second.
taken care of one of those items.
I second it.
So without objection, we are back in exec. Thanks, everyone, and we'll be moving.